Hey, what's up, everybody? The Traveler here with another Traveler Diary. So today I'm gonna focus on talking about the Palmer House because I'm playing the Palmer House tonight. Today is Friday, the 13th, and the Palmer House Hotel in Sauk Center, Minnesota, is notoriously haunted. Now, I've stayed there a number of times. I can't remember, I think 2 or 3 times. And it's not as if I've been ghost hunting or anything. I've just been there to play, and occasionally they've offered me a room to stay at the Palmer House, which was convenient. And I'm not very sensitive to ghosts or spirits. I mean, I was pretty skeptical for a long time about the whole thing in general anyway. But I try to have an open mind, and it seems pretty possible to me that, yeah, there could be some ghosties out there. My wife is pretty sensitive to this kind of stuff. She's like, she won't go some places, she's like, oh man, we can't go there. And I mean, who knows? What do you guys think? I mean, it's a controversial subject, right? I'd love to see some comments in the section like, oh yeah, man, I've had ghosts. Probably the most the experience that got me the most, at least questioning my bias and like opening up to the idea of ghosts, was one time we were house sitting for Ailey's grandparents. And Ailey had talked about, oh, there's kind of like the spirit of this little boy that lives downstairs. And I'm like, yeah, right, whatever. Because the laundry that was downstairs, we were doing laundry that day. And she was like, well, you can go downstairs and put the laundry in. I really don't want to. And I was like, yeah, sure. Seems like a really convenient way for you to get out of doing the laundry. So she's like, no, I swear he's like turning the lights on and off on his own. It really bothers me. She was telling me this spirit was turning lights on and off. And I was like, kind of sassy about it, to put it kindly. And I went down there, and she kind of followed me. And I was like, see, there's nothing down here. There's absolutely nothing down there. And the lights were on. And then as I was touting that there was no spirit downstairs, the lights all of a sudden, they like flickered on and on, like not like turned on and off, but like it was almost like there was a power drain or something, and it was like, and I freaked out. I was like, okay, something did something, and I pissed something off. And I mean, could have been a coincidence. I'm not an electrician, who knows what really caused that, but it seemed like an awful coincidence that as I was going down there being all haughty about there ain't no ghosts, all of a sudden the power flicker, the lights are dimming, and it's not like there's, I don't know, man, it was freaky, freaked me out. So I mean, there's a whole lot of things in life, right, that we can't explain. We have our five senses, but there could be stuff going on in that we just can't sense, that we aren't even really designed to pay attention to. So who knows, man? Maybe alternate dimensions. I mean, who knows? Physics is crazy. But anyway, the Palmer House Hotel. I wanted to go in a little bit of the history here. So I'm looking at there's a whole bunch of articles. If you just Google, is the Palmer House Hotel haunted? There's like a bunch of stuff on Google that comes up, like a lot. And I didn't read all of it. Mostly I went into, there's this article from hauntedplacestogo.com. And I mean, .com, it's about ghosts, so we're not going to find a whole lot of credible academic articles about this subject. But it is a little nice summary of the history here. I mean, the building was originally constructed in 1863, it looks like, and then it burned down, and eventually it was rebuilt by R.L. Palmer in 1901, and over the years it's changed hands. But anyway, so under the section about unusual events, Um, they've seen. They talk about how, especially at night, you'll hear kids playing in the hallway. And guests will go to the staff and be like, who let their kids like play in the hallway late at night? And she's like, we don't have any kids staying here right now. And so apparently there's some young spirits that like to play in the hallway. There's like knocks coming from the walls that people have witnessed. It seems like one there's one room in particular, I guess, that has like I'm also referencing. There's Care 11, an NBC station out of the cities, did a story on the Palmer House. And that was kind of funny because they went into the basement, which I guess isn't allowed unless you're like doing a ghost hunting thing, and they couldn't get the lights to turn on, and that was odd. And so I don't know, maybe that was faked. Probably wasn't. I mean, I've been to the Palmer House a bunch of times, and I know the staff pretty well, and I doubt that they would fake something like that. But the skeptics of you would be like, well, whatever, it could have been faked. But there was a picture that I'm gonna throw on the up here that kind of freaked me out. I mean, I don't know. As I looked closer at it, it seemed pretty ambiguous. But there's this character named Annie, who's a ghost, and I think she stays in the same room that has like the cat ghost. And apparently, if you're allergic to cats, you'll still like have a reaction to this cat ghost. So that's weird. But I don't know. There's this figure in the window. They can see her looking out the window, and I'm looking at this picture, and I'm like, I don't know. That could just be glare, but it could be a ghost too. I don't know. But it's Friday the 13th. And, like, does that matter? Like, I mean, I don't think so. If you're that's a whole different superstition, right? That has nothing to do with ghosts. But, like, it could, right? I don't know. I'm a little nervous. Is there going to be more ghosty activity? And, I mean, am I really nervous about ghosty activity? Nothing really bad has ever happened to me. I mean, I remember one time when I was playing at the Palmer House, and my wife came along. We were looking around. We were poking around, I think on the top floor where Annie lives. And I was looking at these flowers, and I was like, oh, these flowers smell nice. And my wife was like, those are plastic flowers. And we had heard that, like, the ghost, like Annie has this smell. Maybe it's Annie. Maybe I'm getting the names wrong. But we had heard about a ghost having this flowery, sweet smell. And I was like, oh, man, did I just smell a ghost? I didn't even know you could smell ghosts. But I don't know. And, maybe one day I'll get around to, like, talking to somebody who actually knows what's up and get a little bit more information on the Palmer House. But there's also apparently some suicides, I guess. So let's see here. Yeah, in the 70s, I guess. Two hauntings seem directly, this is a quote from the article, two hauntings seem to be directly related to suicides that occurred in the hotel. One individual had hung himself, and the details of the other suicide were ambiguous. This is from hauntedplacestogo.com. So, yeah, I guess there's, I think it's kind of another thing. I don't know. That happened. Is it? I mean, I don't know. If I died under tragic circumstances and I came back as a spirit, I wouldn't necessarily want to hang out for eternity in this place that reminded me of all that. But do they have a choice? I don't know. I don't know what the rules are of being a ghost. I don't. So I'm not going to pretend to know. But I also think it's kind of cool that when this thing was built, it was like a destination. I mean, the architecture there is still pretty cool. I like looking at like the ceilings and stuff, and it's a really cool building. But it's kind of fun to think about like when it was new and everybody was like, "Oh, look at this cool place." But if you're into history, if you're into paranormal activity, go check out the Palmer House. And if you're into music, check out the Palmer House tonight. And if you're listening to this podcast later and you miss the show, I'll be back at the Palmer House again January 31st. So, but that's my last date at the Palmer House for I don't know when. That's the last one I have booked so far. So, got a couple chances to check me out at the Palmer House. Maybe tonight I'll get some more audio. Maybe I'll talk to somebody who works there or is in the know and get a little bit more insider information on this ghost situation. Or maybe I'll see a ghost tonight, I mean, I've never seen one, but they say, like, maybe you've seen one and you don't know. Like, maybe you're looking at a person and you think it's just a regular person, and then all of a sudden, or like, but you don't know. It's just, could be a stranger. It could be a ghost. I don't know. I mean, I lost my wallet there once, and it seemed pretty strange that I lost my wallet. And then I got it back mysteriously. And I mean, if you were a thief and you were stealing a wallet, would you give it back? But if you were a ghost and you were just being mischievous, maybe you would. I mean, I don't know. There's all sorts of crazy stuff. I don't know. But the Palmer House Hotel, pretty haunted. But yeah, that's what's going on. I did last night. That was a lot of fun. Thanks again to Rexford Sweetwater. My phone auto-corrected his name wrong when I did a Facebook post, and I called him Redford, which, I mean, they're both pretty awesome names. I mean, if you're going to be like a private eye in some 30s comic book series, or comic series, Rexford Sweetwater. I mean, that's just a great name to host like in the 80s. Because Sweetwater's like a store that sells music gear. So the fact that he's like in radio and doing this show about like heavy metal music, and his name's Rexford Sweetwater. I mean, that's a good brand. That's a good niche for him, or niche. I still can't figure out how to say that word. Is it niche? Is it niche? I don't know. I'm struggling with that word in my life. But that was a lot of fun. I was nervous. Because I did Killing in the Name of by Rage Against the Machine. The radio edit, of course. Ain't shouting no profanities on the radio. But, which upset some people. They were like, dude. But I'm like, come on, man. It's the radio. What do you want me to do? But it was fun. I was nervous. It was a new song, and it's kind of complicated to do by myself. I had to get some looping stuff right, and use this whammy effect on my pedal, and that's all kind of new stuff for me. But it was fun. It's been a fun tune to study and learn, and I'm glad to be able to add it to my repertoire. And we're gonna do it. We're gonna cover it in the Droids You're Looking For. So I know the guys are all really jazzed up about that. Rage Against the Machine is like one of Evan's favorite bands, and I mean, he wanted to start a Rage tribute band, and I don't know what we'll get up to over the years. Maybe we'll learn enough Rage songs to be able to do a whole Rage set and have that kind of going on. I mean, it kind of fits into what I'm, because the Droids You're Looking For started off really, our mission was nothing more but to be silly and entertain and make jokes, and it was kind of let's not take this seriously at all. Like, it was, I mean, for Evan in the I shouldn't get into this too much because I want to do a whole conversation with Evan about it. But anyway, in contrast to that, we've been at this a few years now, and we're kind of opening up our scope as to what is this project to us. And, as I think about this idea of the Droids You're Looking For, I mean, one of the songs on the album we're putting out, like one of the new songs that I helped write the lyrics for, self-titled, The Droids You're Looking For, kind of talks about these, mercenary robots that are awesome and impressive, and just, warriors that can get the job done. And in the fashion of the rebels, this sort of rebellious idea that goes along with Star Wars in general. I mean, Rage Against the Machine is a pretty on-point influence, and I don't try to be too political in my art, because I don't know what to believe. I'm not the most well-researched citizen, but I do read and I do try to pay attention. And even the information I take in, it's like, oh man, if you don't know what to trust, And so a lot of times I don't know what to believe because there's a lot of there's a lot of disinformation out there. There's a lot of good points on both sides, and so I try not to get too political. I try to have my art be a space for relaxing and enjoying, and a place for humor and fun. But on the other hand, there's things to talk about. There's important stuff going on. There's important issues. I mean, certainly Trapped in the Past has some references to like climate change and things, which is a whole loaded bag of issues and information. But as Droids is developing, I wonder if we're gonna, the voice of that band might be moving away from the silly stuff and more towards, at the end of the day, I feel like as an artist, it's good to be authentic, right? And to find, to express what's going on with you in the moment. And, we're getting older. I am kind of preoccupied with some of these things. I get kind of worried about, the future and the planet and our society, and are we going to be safe and happy and secure? I mean, I don't know. These are strange times. But on the other hand, it seems like there's always something that there's always some crisis, right? There's always some sort of fear mongering going on, which is tough too for people, for the average citizen, I bought this book at a thrift store. It's called The Millennium Bug: How to Survive the Coming Chaos. And it's like all these, it's like here on the side of the cover, it's like 12:01 a.m., January 1st, 2000. Your electricity goes off. Phones aren't working. The computer at your local bank crashes. Police and 911 are nowhere to be found. The illusion of social stability is about to be shattered, and nothing can stop it. Can you protect yourself, your family, and everything you worked for? Yes, you can. And here's how. This book is by Michael S. Hyatt. Let's see, when was it published? I don't know. Hold on a second. Let me find out here. But anyway, I bought this book just as a reminder to myself that, right, there's always somebody who's going to try to profit off of people's fear. Because, I mean, obviously none of this stuff happened. And maybe it would have. I don't really know. I mean, I was 9 when the decade turned and we entered into the new millennium. It was 1998 or something like that. Or was it 1997? I don't know. But when this was published. But, there's always something, it seems like, that's going to kill us, and we need to buy stuff to make sure we don't die. Not that I'm necessarily saying that climate change is another one of these things, but I think that because there's been so many examples of these phony crises, which again, maybe if it wasn't for the wonderful work by the tech community that updated all the software, blah blah blah, that saved us from the millennial chaos that was advertised, maybe there was a danger and we dealt with it. But also I think that might be, it's not as if we haven't been doing anything for climate change either. Obviously steps have been taken. So I mean, for people that are I get why people, when they hear this sensationalized impending doom climate change stuff, why maybe they tune out, or it maybe sounds like some of these things that is just fear mongering. I get why maybe people are skeptical. But I think that if you really look at the data from scientists and look at information from people that have really studied it and really care about what's going on, that there are some serious issues, that dumping a bunch of carbon into the atmosphere and polluting the planet from, industrialization, or just how we handle our material waste. I mean, there's some stuff that's not good. I mean, we shouldn't be dumping garbage into the ocean. That's a huge problem. That's affecting sea life. We need sea life. We depend on not only the food that we get from the ocean, but the other life that is sustaining itself from life in the ocean, that if we poison the oceans, that's going to be bad for us. I think there's this idea of symbiosis, right? That life is connected, that if all the other species around us die, we're going to run out of food, right? We have to consume life in order to live. And so if we have a blatant disregard for life around us, that's going to be bad, you know. I mean, it's kind of, I mean, it's complicated, right? These are complicated issues, and um, you know, when you think about the coral reefs, how they've been bleached, or at least the Great Coral Reef in Australia, there's a huge stretch of it that the coral is dead. There's species that are going in or in danger of extinction all around the planet. Like, there's definitely some stuff going on for real that's verifiable and trackable that you know, it's stuff we should address and be aware of and be concerned about. Um, you know, when people are skeptical about our ability to provide electricity through things like windmills and renewable energy, and they think that in order to, you know, we have to look at all kinds of different options as far as, like, you know, maybe coal and oil or natural gas power plants, but with technology that makes them carbon neutral. Or, you know, I really don't know how I feel about nuclear power. I mean, they say it's safer now than it used to be, but I don't buy it. I don't think there's any way to have a nuclear power plant without, you know, generating a large amount of toxic waste. And, you know, maybe we got to lean on that as a crutch for a while, but I don't know. I really don't know how I feel about the stuff that I read about nuclear power. That seems like a bad idea. I don't know. Just me, though. And I'm not necessarily an expert. I'm not necessarily an expert in these things. This is just a very cursory understanding of the situation. And this is complicated, right? You know, here we got people that are trying to solve this and figure this out. And it's just like, man, there's a lot of data to ingest and interpret and figure out. And I don't know. It's going to take someone smarter than me to figure out. But you know, I try my best, and I think we all got to try our best to be informed and make good decisions and and live our life the best that we can. But it's tough. It's tough, and again, it goes back to, you know, if I'm frustrated by anything, it kind of goes back to this book, The Millennium Bug. You know, there's all these sensationalist fearmongers that are trying to profit off of your fear, and it does create kind of a problem. And yeah, so I don't know. I think that the best thing to do is just remember to try to evaluate the information that you ingest. You know, even if you find a source of information that you trust, it's, you know, maybe they're reporting the facts, but are people, you know, I don't know. Good questions to ask, I think, are always, where is this information coming from? Like, when was this information published? Like, are the people that have published this information, do they have a vested interest in the issue or what they're talking about? You know, take everything with a grain of salt. I think just, hey, there's a healthy dose of skepticism, and, you know, there's I think a due diligence of at least to ask basic questions like who, what, when, where, why. You know, don't believe everything you read, you know, and don't not believe everything too, but, you know, evaluate the information. Try to and recognize that we live in this age of information where it's just like, yeah, there's gonna be a lot of BS out there that you shouldn't believe. And you know, I think there's a good idea of like, well, you know, you need to monitor your diet of what you eat. You know, don't eat a bunch of junk food. Don't waste your time with junk information. Don't fill your brain with information that isn't worth it. You know, have a healthy mental diet as well. Which, you know, maybe means you shouldn't listen to me, but, you know, I'm not here trying to, I mean, I'm trying to have fun and be entertaining, but, you know, I'm not going to try to profit off your fear. You know, I'm not here to BS anybody. I'm just here to have fun and maybe try to make a positive difference. You know, I'm not a academic really, but I mean, I do have a college degree, so I'm not, you know, I'll try to share what I know or share the wisdom that I have, but if you're looking to me, man, you probably, you could aim higher. You could definitely aim higher than me. But, so yeah, don't know what, I'll talk about thanks for listening again, everybody. I'm enjoying doing these podcasts. I'm enjoying getting to make myself available. I mean, I've gotten a little bit of feedback. Like, I know Rexford was talking about on the radio last night. He's like, oh, he was checking out my last podcast, and he listened to it for a bit, and he was like, oh, man, there's like another 50 minutes of this. I'm not going to do that, which I get. That makes total sense. Like, this isn't for everybody, right? Like, I'm trying to provide, again, like a behind-the-scenes, like, intimate sort of... I'm trying to be available, right? Like, I'm trying to be available to my audience and for them to kind of get to know me and to have this sort of long form outlet for me to share my thoughts and my process. And, I think that if it's interesting to you, cool, man. And I like to keep doing it, and I'm going to keep doing it. But yeah, if you're not into like listening to me talk for an hour, I get it. Don't listen to me. It's not for everybody. But I know that from listening to like the Joe Rogan podcast and Ari Shaffir's Skeptic Tank, that's probably one of my favorite podcasts. I dig, this sort of raw, rough, long form, sharing of an artist's perspective. I think that there is a market for it. If there's people that want to listen to it and dig it, I want to provide that for them. And, at the end of the day, it's just another great way to pump my shows. Playing at the Palmer House tomorrow. We're playing at the Eagles Club here in Alexandria on the 28th. It's a benefit show for St. Jude's Hospital. Every time I talk about it, I don't know all the details of the show, and that's on me. I guess I could pull it up. Here, let me pull it up on the internet. Let me get some more information about this show. Hold on. This is what I mean by it being rough. Minnesota Max, he listened to my last podcast, and he's like, oh, man, it's like you didn't even take a breath. You, like, jacked up on some really nice coffee. And I am. I like to drink, I can't remember the name of it, but it's like espresso. Cafe Bustelo. That's the kind of coffee I drink. And, yeah, I'm totally jacked up on caffeine right now. That is accurate. Oh, holiday show at the Eagles Club. Okay, hopefully the details I put in my event are accurate. No, that's not. So I'm playing at 10 p.m. at the Eagles, I think. I don't have any information here about like a cover charge. Oh God, I'm an idiot. Okay, well now I gotta go somewhere else to find information. I will get this. I'm going to get the information about this holiday show at the Eagles Club. Who else playing there? I know that William J. Campbell's playing there. He's a good friend of mine. And a great artist, a great original artist. He was in a band called Tepetracy. Oh, shit. I am not good at computers. I'm just gonna be honest that I'm not good at using my computer. I'm not very fast at it. But hold on. Okay, here we go. Nope, that was the wrong thing. Dang it. I was looking at my show in Ames, and that's not what I'm trying to find. It's okay. Eventually, I'll get there. I got some other stuff coming up in January and February. I'm really excited. So in February, I'm heading down to Huntsville, Alabama. I haven't been there in a long time, and I was there a bunch of times with the Dirty Reggae Punks, and it was always a great town. It was always a great spot for us to play shows, and I am excited to get back down there. And I got a couple of shows on the way out in Iowa booked so far. I'm trying to fill up the rest of my week. So like the February 15th, well, I guess I should pump my show in January. January 24th at the Roundhouse Brewery in Brainerd, Iowa. I'm playing a couple hour show. I think that one's the 7 to 9. And again, if I'm getting this right, just go to my Facebook page, please. Find the Traveler. Find the Traveler on Facebook and Instagram. Anyway, okay. Holiday Acoustic Benefit. Here we go. It's being put on by Ramp Productions. It's from 8 p.m. to 12:30. I think it's just by donation. Let's see here. All profits. It doesn't say anything about a cover charge, but it says all profits will be donated to the St. Jude's Children's Hospital. If you cannot attend but wish to contribute to this amazing cause, follow this link. So yeah, if you find this, the name of the event again on Facebook is Holiday Acoustic Benefit. It's at the Eagles Club, Saturday, December 28th from 8 p.m. till it looks like 1. We got some more people. I'm glad I looked at this because David Haynes is gonna play. That's new. He's awesome. I've had him on like my show before when I hosted the variety show at the Copper Trail Brewery. I had David Haynes and William J. Campbell as guests, and I know they're really good. So we got David Haynes is gonna play, William J. Campbell. I'm gonna play Phil Boyd. Don't know him. JT Fremont. Do I know him? I don't know. I don't know if I know him or not. Vintage Joseph. So that's the lineup so far. It says and more ellipses, so I don't know. So yeah, it looks like it's just kind of donate. Doesn't look like there's a cover charge, but it's by donation for this acoustic benefit. I mean, I'm not exactly acoustic. I get how you use an acoustic electric guitar, but I don't really like that label for me that I'm an acoustic player because, I mean, now that I've gotten into using this effect pedal and doing the looping stuff, like, I mean, I finally feel like I'm able to bring the rock, and that's what I like to do. I mean, I can be acoustic if it's a venue that would like a more chill atmosphere. I'll definitely do my best to work with the venue and provide the best product for them. I try to be versatile with my live show, but man, I do love rocking. Okay, yeah. So anyway, yeah, February I'm going down to Huntsville, and I got some shows I'm playing at Mason City at Bricks Wine and Whiskey. That's like 8 to 10 p.m. on Saturday the 15th. And then Monday, I'm hitting up an open mic in Iowa City at the Mill Restaurant. So, got a couple of events in Iowa, like the weekend before I'm heading down to Huntsville. Still trying to fill out that week. I'd love to be able to hit up some spots on my way down. And, I've been messaging people trying to book some shows for that. But I'm excited. I'm just excited to get back down to Huntsville and get back on the road a little bit. But, really, I'm trying to focus more on, because it is expensive. It's expensive to travel. It's expensive to get around. I mean, I love to do it. I'm the traveler. But, at the end of the day, I'm trying to run a business here, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to make money and sustain myself doing this. I do have a Patreon page now. If you search Alex the Traveler on Patreon, you can sign up to be a patron and support me, which would mean the world to me, because there's lots of things that I need. I'd like to upgrade my my digital audio workplace software, my sound editing software. I'd like to get a new computer. I mean, on top of all the things I need to live, like food and rent and stuff like that. So patreon.com, search Alex the Traveler. I got a Patreon page now. If you want to sign up and contribute and support me, that would be the best. I mean, I feel weird. I don't want to be like a beggar, but at the end of the day, I don't know how else to. I mean, I have tiers of support that will you get stuff back. You can get. I'll email you the tracks off my first record. If you sign up for the super fan tier, you can get a t-shirt. I'll mail that to you. That's what I got so far. I don't really have any physical discs that are super nice. If I get enough patrons that I have the money to invest in some physical copies of the CD with nice artwork and stuff, I'll do that. But right now I'm just giving them out digitally because I don't have the capital available to really make those CDs. And also, the support you give me will go towards making my next record. I've been working on, now I got my home studio set up. and I'm working on a few new tracks. One of them I kind of I showed like a preview of in my What Are Chords video. There's at the end of that one I put like a little jam track that I'm calling Stargazing. Yeah, I'm working on that. That's an instrumental track, which again I asked a question about because people seem to not like instrumentals. But there's also people who like instrumentals, so I haven't really heard any feedback about this whole like instrumental feud among the music fans of the world. Like, what's the deal? Why don't people like instrumentals? But I'm working on an instrumental. I might put lyrics to that still yet. I'm still working on it. It's this new album that I'm working on is super brand new. But I'm also working on a song that I wrote about my father who had some health issues recently, and he's on the mend. He's looking great, and I'm thankful that he's feeling better, and I think I still have a lot of time to spend with my dad, but there was definitely a period of time when he was first in the hospital where I was sort of confronted with this idea, this possibility that I might lose my dad, and I wrote a song about that called "If I Had to Say Goodbye," which as I'm analyzing that song in particular, because my first album was definitely based on that fictional concept that I talked about in my last podcast. And, I guess I could rewrite some of the verses and kind of fit this song into that fictional concept. But I don't know if I want to, I did that with Secret Love Affair. That was a song on my first record that I wrote about my real experience because my wife, before she was my wife, when we were the early days of us dating, I hired her when I was the coach of the speech team at the high school here in Alexandria. I hired her to be one of my assistants. And, through the course of that period of time, eventually we started dating. But I didn't really know if that was appropriate or not. We were just like part-time speech coaches. It's like, I didn't think it was that big a deal, but on the off chance that maybe it was, we were both like, hey, let's just not talk about it and not address it and try to act professionally as we can when we're at practices and at speech meets and stuff. But, everybody kind of knew what was going on. So I wrote this song called Secret Love Affair, based on the early days of the courtship with my wife, and it kind of fit well enough into the narrative, and I kind of went into that in my last podcast, that I was able to kind of adopt that into my record. But at the end of the day, that was just about my real life, and, I feel like I'm gonna, I feel like I want to move in that direction. I feel like I want to move away from the fictional concept and just be me and write songs that are authentic to me, because I feel like that's, I don't know, but how I want to create art right now. I feel like it's a good way to create art in general is to be authentic, and when something's real, it's relatable. But it is, I did put a lot of time and effort into that. Not that I want to completely abandon this concept, but maybe I can take that in a different direction. I can have multiple avenues of creativity where maybe I could put out an album. I'm kind of thinking I want to put out an album, this next one called Alex the Traveler, because that's what I named my Patreon page. My Facebook page just says The Traveler, but whenever I'm at a show and I'm like, hey, I'm the Traveler, it seems like people connect better with Alex the Traveler. They like to have a name to it, and it seems like a real person. And when people are like, hey, what's your name? Even I feel weird being like, I'm the Traveler. Like, I don't know, my name's Alex. And I feel like Alex the Traveler is a better way. People are connecting with it better. I identify with it better. So I might change that on my Facebook page pretty soon. But then, coming out with, the first album being The Traveler, Trapped in the Past, and it being this fictional character, and then coming out with album 2, and it's Alex the Traveler and me. It's been inserting Alex in there, and having it be not about something fictional, but just about me. I don't know, that might be the direction I go. What do you guys think? I haven't really received a lot of feedback on that, but I also don't think a lot of people have taken time at this point to care or really listen to my first album. But, philosophically, maybe you have an opinion, maybe you have some feedback. I don't know. I'd like to hear from people. Well, yeah, anyway, thanks for listening. Hope that you found some of that Palmer House stuff educational and entertaining, and I might do some more of that stuff if I get the opportunity to do some interviews. But again, I really appreciate your support, and till the next adventure.